It's time for Fantasy Premier League. Welcome to the next season. Everybody's excited. I'm excited. The season kicks off in 7 days' time. Yes, next Friday, the season kicks off. Everybody get ready. I hope everybody has their teams ready. And it's live. No, I'm joking. Martin Tyler used to say, and it's live every Monday for Monday Night Football. He's no longer going to be there. So this is going to be a brand new season. All the challenges, so much still to happen in the transfer market that it is anybody's game. Fantasy football, as you know, is the game that adds spice to your footballing season, purely because it makes you engaged on a weekly basis. When your team is not playing, you have the engagement of watching teams that you did not know you wanted to support. Last year it was Brighton. So a lot of people have Brighton players in their teams and had some good quality points. So without further ado, what I'll do today is show you a couple of starting points of how to select your squad, what the original template was. So I created this uh, slide deck a few weeks ago, actually. And a few things have changed, but I'll walk you through those changes as we go along. Okay, so how does FPL work? FPL works very simply. So if you've never played the game before, essentially you have a squad of 15 players, two goalkeepers, five defenders, five midfielders, and three forwards. You have a budget of 100 million. Each player is assigned a value, with the highest being Erling Braut Haaland at 14 million, and the cheapest being 4 million for more goalkeepers and defenders that in all likelihood will not play. So your budgeting skills, how you spread your money is your choice. A lot of people have theories, or things that work, things that in general work at the start of the season and then evolves as you go along. So what you must do is that you must pick your squad, and your squad within those rules, and then on a weekly basis manage that squad essentially. So manage that squad meaning that if you want to make a free transfer, you can make a free transfer, and then there's a couple of extra rules as you go along. So I'll take you through the rules and point scoring, chips, planning your squad, how to select defenders, midfielders, forwards, plays to avoid, possible gems, and then some set and forgets, which I enjoyed. Set and forgets. So basically, set and forgets are players that you that are fixture proof. They're gonna score points no matter who they play. That's why they in this game they're called premium players. Okay, so a couple of the rules. So let's walk you through the rules. Okay, so I went through a couple of them. Two goalkeepers, five defenders, five midfielders, three forwards. Your budget, your number of players, ooh, maximum 3 players per team. On the right hand side, you have how the points are scored. A lot of rules there, but just keep these in mind. A striker scores 4 points for a goal. A midfielder or defender scores 5 points per goal. An assist is 3 points, and you get bonus points, and you get points for clean sheets if you're a defender and a goalkeeper, and you get an additional points if you play more than 60 minutes. So there's a couple of extra rules there in terms of save points for goalkeepers and bonus points based on how your actual performance was. During the season, you get a couple of chips. So your 4 chips is allowing you to gamble on that weekend. So you have 2 wild cards, and one at the start of the season. So you have one wild card up until the 30th of December, and then you have one wild card up until, from the 31st of December up until the end of the season. Now, plan your FPL accordingly because you don't want to waste those wildcards. So it's good to what generally happens. So this is the general rule if you play FPL for a few seasons. Generally, people do the wildcard around the international break, approximately October. So that'll be more or less between game week 8 and 12. Why they do that? This is the tradition. A lot of people do it because they can catch some bandwagon players. They can catch who is the performing players and then get them into their team as early as possible without wasting money on them. There are a lot of people who like to just, why not? If not, why not use it at the start of the season? Or all's fair in love and FPL. Then you have two other chips, very important chips. Sorry, three other chips. Yes, you have three other chips. One is your bench boost, one is your free hit, and one is your triple captain. Triple captain is self-explanatory. You get triple points for the captain you choose on that weekend. So you're allowed to use this once a year. So choose carefully. The best captains to use is if you have a good striking option or a goal scoring player, so like a Erling Haaland or a Mohamed Salah, and you triple captain them at home against the weakest defense in the league. So you choose when you like to do that. Previously, it used to be against teams like Leeds or Bournemouth. This year, it's probably going to be against Luton. So watch out for Luton at Anfield, Luton at or Sheffield United, sorry. Luton or Sheffield United against Liverpool at Anfield, against Arsenal at the Emirates, against Manchester City at the Etihad. So those check those fixtures. Probably that's going to be the best time to play your chips. The other time people generally like to use the chip is when there is a double game week. This usually occurs around March, April next year. So towards the end of the season, when fixtures start getting backed up. So like a team qualifies for the League Cup final and they miss a game, their game gets added to another game week. So then you have a double game week during that season. The last one is called bench boost. So once a season, you can score points from all 15 players in your squad. It's a very handy tool if you have 15 players that are likely to get points. Now, what usually happens is that some of us choose not to spend our money in players that will play. So we choose to play, we buy two players that are the cheapest you can possibly find to free up funds. So when you're planning towards your bench boost, make sure to use your chips wisely, use your funds wisely, and plan in advance. So plan in advance for a week when you will have the best squad, 15 players that can capitalize on the game week. My option would be to hold the bench boost until you have seen some double game weeks coming up towards the end of the season. It's not a foolproof plan, but what that means is that very often, if you have 15 players and they're playing more than one game, that is a great chance to earn some extra points. Okay, so let's have a look at your how do you plan your squad? So I'll give you some theories. I'll give you some advice from my previous failures and my previous successes as well. So I'm not a great FPL player. There's some years where you just forget, and some years where you do exceptionally well. You finish in the top 10%. I'll take that any day. So on average, what I like to do, my favorite formation, and this changes week to week, but general formation, my favorite formation would be a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. Those are my general formations. Now, the reason that is because the most value you can get from in FPL is in your defenders. The most points you probably will get from FPL is in your midfielders. The most attractive players that you have in FPL is your strikers, your forwards. So how to weigh that up is that make sure you have a couple of premium players. So premium players meaning players that you will not be removing from that team, preferably one up front, maybe one in the midfield. Goalkeepers are very good to have, but what tends to happen with goalkeepers is that it's unpredictable. Your best goalkeepers don't necessarily earn you the most points because the smaller clubs or the mid-table clubs, goalkeepers get more saves. Now, if you add the save points to the points for generally clean sheets, there's only 2 or 3 clubs that keep a lot of clean sheets. And what you find happening is like I think last year you had a player like Raya, who was the leading goalkeeper, and there was a reason for that is because there was a lot of save points that he made. If you look at my screen now, you have a couple of options: Areola, Ramsdale, Pickford, Edison, Pope, Raya, Leno, Allison, Martinez. I put 3 options for you on the screen. One is Areola. Uh, uh, mm, there's a reason for that, and I'll explain it shortly. Then is Ramsdale. Ramsdale is very popular. He's what I would call a mid-tier player, mid-tier. And then you have someone like Edison. So Edison is a very good player. One thing that I would not do is buy someone like Edison because I would want to get 3 Man City players in the outfield. That if I buy Edison, then I'm pretty much stuck that I can only have a maximum of 2 Manchester City players. And sometimes it's good because you can get a clean sheet. You can get some clean sheet points from Edison, which then is fine. Then you wouldn't have to do it. But I just like having the option of having 3 Man City players. Should I want them? I'm not saying I'll have them every week, but should I want them? I don't want. I do not want to put myself in a corner to restrict the number of outfield players. Similar principle would apply to an Arsenal. So that's one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't go to Aaron Ramsdale. There's some good Arsenal defenders in your Saliba, your Gabriel, maybe a Zinchenko. And then there's some great Arsenal midfielders in your Bukayo Saka, your Martinellis, your Odegaard, and your strikers. So your strikers, I would consider Havertz and Jesus. I know Jesus is injured at the moment, so not sure on a return date for him, which makes a player like Havertz. We'll get to that in the midfield as we go along. Oh, let me get to Areola. So the reason why I think Areola is a good bet, and this is going to be my choice. So my option is to choose Areola and Fabianski. Fabianski is 4.5, Areola is 4, which means I'll spend a total of 8.5 for my goalkeeper, purely because if one doesn't play, then the other one will play. So that's number one, number two of West Ham. So if one plays and the other doesn't play, then I've definitely got a goalkeeper and a decent goalkeeper at a decent club. I know West Ham had a very poor season last year, but they actually still a good team, and I can see David Moyes getting the best, getting a better season out of them this year. So 8.5 for 2 goalkeepers means I have freed up some money elsewhere. So it's quite decent. I know a lot of people that will not do that. They will use a player around the mid level, so get some clean sheet points. And that is a perfectly good way to go about it. Another option is to have two goalkeepers for approximately 4.5 or 5. Then you can alternate and rotate them based on the difficulty of that week's fixtures. It gives you some good flexibility, but it comes at a slightly higher cost. So be prudent in the way that you use that 4.5. Okay, defenders. Defenders are it's a lovely area to if you want to get some good quality solid players that's going to earn you some points. So defenders generally around 4.5 is where you start finding some good quality defenders, and then you have some gems. The gems for a defender are defenders that get you assists or goals. Now, so if you combine the assists and the goals with a clean sheet, defenders are if you can find that type of defender, it is golden. Trent Alexander-Arnold, recently named vice captain of Liverpool, so you know he's going to be playing majority of the games. What's good about Trent is in the end of last season and the start of preseason, he's been playing in an advanced area of the pitch. So even though he's listed as a right back on the Liverpool starting lineup, you'll find him drifting towards the midfield, meaning there's more chances of him getting attacking points. Now add that to if Liverpool can clean sheet, and at this stage it is an if, due to them losing Fabinho and Henderson. There's no actual defensive midfielder in that squad. But if they keep a clean sheet and Trent assists in the way that he normally does, the 8 million that you see on the screen, even though it's the most expensive defender, becomes quite a good player in terms of points per price. Very good. In many ways, I actually think that this is one of those set and forgets that you need to have. He will be in my team as a set and forget, definitely. Another great player from previous season was Estupinen, who at 5 million is, I think, relatively underpriced. Great season last year. De Zerbi was excellent. Estupinen was excellent. The Brighton team was excellent. So great great option to have. Gabriel was one of the standout players in Arsenal last year, but you could say that about everybody in that squad. Actually, I think Arsenal last year were by far the highest. If you asked me at the start of last season, would Arsenal get to second place? It would have been categorically no. If you ask me if they would be the closest challengers to Man City, absolutely not. They were amazing last year. Very energetic, very high quality football, and players throughout that team were actually very good, outstanding last season. If they can get anywhere close to the form that they showed last season, Gabriel and Saliba will need to be up to that level, up to that standard. So Gabriel or Saliba, two excellent options in defense because they will definitely play. They will definitely play. All right, moving on to your midfield. So midfield, I got a couple of options, a couple of favorites as it stands in FPL. So Bukayo Saka, he is one of the highest selected players in the game as it stands. Unbelievable player. Definitely be on penalties probably as well. Coming in from that right flank, a very good option, and at a price of 8.5, I think is still really good value. In the midfield, you're going to find a lot of value. I think this is the area where people need to identify good quality players at a good price, and that'll allow you to facilitate better players in other positions. Martin Odegaard, very good player. If you want to double up on the Arsenal for the first few weeks, that's a great option to have Odegaard and Bukayo Saka. Arsenal's got a good run of fixtures in the first 4 or 5 games. So if you want a flying start, I would actually imagine minimum 2 Arsenal players for the first few weeks, possibly 3, depending on how risky you want to go. So these 2 players, as well as I would look at definitely Kai Havertz. Now that your Gabriel Jesus is unavailable, I know people think that Nketiah will start. I would think that Kai Havertz would start as the false 9, which will allow Martinelli on one side and Saka on the other side. Very interesting. Now with Declan Rice being the midfield, will allow them to free themselves moving forward. The other one that I would choose is Mutoma. Mutoma, what an excellent player. What an excellent player. And at his price of 6.5, I was really surprised that his price didn't increase that much. So 6.5, excellent value for an attacking midfielder from a Brighton team that was very good last year. And in all likelihood, they've also got a good first few run of fixtures. Very good value. Matoma or Enciso. So I'll get to Enciso shortly, but Matoma definitely one of the options from a Brighton team, especially now that Brighton has lost McAllister. Enciso and Matoma become all the more important. Next up is Marcus Rashford, outstanding goal scorer for a United team that's probably going to be looking to him to get the goals. The other option here in the midfield would be Bruno Fernandes. So one of your 2 options. So you can weigh it up as you like. Um, Marcus Rashford versus Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes has a lot of assists and he has the penalties. Rashford is the goal scorer. So weighing these 2 players up will be difficult when United's fixtures eventually become eventually turn. United's first 9 games is exceptionally good. So if you want to double up on a United attack, it's actually not the worst option. I would. Rashford is a favorite for a lot of players based on previous year's goal scoring record. If I had to choose one of them, I would probably go with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, now that he's captain as well, will probably take the responsibility. Mason Mount will be adding some support so that he would do the pressing and probably allow Bruno Fernandes a lot more freedom in that midfield. So Bruno Fernandes, if they get Sofian Amrabat as well to play behind or next to Casemiro, and Hoyland goes up front, I could see Bruno Fernandes stepping up for this season. Actually, I think it's a very good option. It's probably going to be around 9.5. Oh, sorry, there we go. 8.5 versus 9.0. I think the value is in Fernandes. If you want to double up on Fernandes and Rashford, then it's not a bad option for the first few games. And then we come to the GOAT for last season. So last year, Erling Haaland lived up to expectations and beyond. He was the player that you could not leave out of your team. He was unbelievable. In every game that he played, he looked like a threat of scoring, which is strange because he didn't look. Uh, what's the word I'm going to use without sounding contradictory? So it took him a while to get up to speed for City. It didn't look like he was the cog in the City wheel, but when the ball fell to him in dangerous areas, that man is lethal, 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 lethal. 14 million, the highest price ever in fantasy for the start of the season, means that 14 million is a very steep price, but it's one you probably have to pay because he's going to be owned by so many people. So if you start without him, it is a huge gamble. it's a huge gamble because that's going to put you on the back foot in your mini leagues. So an absolute must, I would think. Okay, these are my possible gems. Enciso, Areola, Sterling, and Foden. Sterling in that Chelsea team during preseason looked, uh, let me put it this way, the Chelsea team looked full of energy. They looked more uh, attacking, more pace with Jackson, Nkunku, and Sterling, uh, with Enzo in the midfield. There's something exciting about that Chelsea team. James on one side, Chilwell on the other side. There's pieces in place already which Pochettino is going to improve on. He's going to buy a couple more players. He needs a couple more players. So I could see that Chelsea team with no distractions from any other competition, essentially, because they play basically only Premier League until the domestic cups come in. So no distractions of European competition with good quality players, high energy. Look for your value in a 7 million midfielder Raheem Sterling. I mean, he's been in the league for so long. He was a goal scorer at Liverpool. He was a goal scorer at Man City. He just had a bad season or two at Chelsea. I think he will kind of return. So look to someone like Raheem Sterling. Michaela Modric could not be worse than he was last year, so he's going to improve. Watch out for Jackson. Watch out for Nkunku. Phil Foden is in my is on the screen because Man City have lost a couple of players, and Kevin De Bruyne is probably not going to be fit for the start of the season. So he'll gradually, slowly come into the team, but that means there's a gap for somebody like Phil Foden to exploit in that attacking midfield. With Mahrez leaving, Bernardo rumored, not confirmed as yet, but rumored to be leaving as well. Gundogan's left. In steps Kovacic. That means someone like Foden who can play anywhere along that front line or the supporting front, so either left, right, or the number 10 role. Someone like Phil Foden is probably going to play a lot. Man City also have a good run of fixtures for the first 4 or 5 games, so a very nice option, cheaply priced relatively for a Man City player, 7.5. I will take that gamble actually. I think I'll be taking the gamble to double up on him and Haaland for the first few weeks. Okay, so that's it for now. I'll make another video shortly. Next week, I'll be having a couple of discussions with some friends, showing you their team, showing you my team, and then we'll pick a team together. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely, lovely FPL season ahead. Chat to you soon.